What's the matter?
It's me heart, love.
What?
I think it's beating slow.
Oh, don't be silly. It's another 2 hours before we have to get up. Try and get to sleep.
I feel sort of lightheaded. It's like I've been out drinking. It's a funny sort of feeling, it is.
Come back to bed.
It's going to be a nice day. I really do feel funny. His plant's grown since yesterday. Look at the size its leaves are now. Huge.
Promise not to smoke in bed anymore.
Well, just one now. Down to 10 a day now. Kathy, this match is turning like a
on the bed.
The Destruction Factor. 2 plays by James Follett. The first, The Seeds of Creation, with T.P. McKenna, Paul Copley, and Rosalind Adams.
Go to section 34 Parkside Avenue and investigate serious fire incident reported by a at number 31.
Request time to know, send 2 for more information regarding Electoral Road, Parkside Avenue, with 2 occupiers at number 34, and Edward Downs and a Kathleen C. Downs.
Yeah, we'll need another breathing set. Well, how are we to know it would burn like that? No, it's the usual problem with bungalows, not knowing which room they're using as a bedroom.
We never really had much to do with them. A drink last Christmas, that sort of thing.
But you must know which room they're using as a bedroom.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Detective Inspector Balfour.
I'm sorry, Inspector, but we hardly know them.
Well, he works at that big chemical plant.
Will everyone please get well back? There's nothing to see. Please get right back.
Excuse me. Okay, now back. Now there's more vehicles coming with me. Just wait well back.
Anyone in there?
I've no idea, madam. About time you lot showed up.
Look, the fire spread of the garage, Mr. Balfour. We're going to try and drag the van out. Now, one of my lads says there's drums of some sort in the back, but he can't read the labels. You must close the road and get those bungalows evacuated.
He works for the chemical plant. Well, often brings a loaded van home in the evening. Oh, we said it was dangerous, didn't I, Joe?
Yes, all right. Now get well back.
You've got a minute, Mr. Balfour?
Sure.
Thanks for turning up.
I caught it on the car radio. I was on my way home for breakfast. Have you found them?
Yes, they're on the back lawn now. Covered up. Don't mess about. Let the handbrake off and drag it out. I'll tell you something, Mr. Balfour. It won't be any good getting their next of kin to identify them. It's their dentist you'll be needing. That's the van out. One problem less. God, I load houses with integral garages. Shouldn't be allowed.
But surely the fire hasn't been going long enough to destroy them.
A man and a woman. You know how we knew their sexes? By their pelvic bones.
The gun contains diluted weed killer, Mr. Garrard. They're issued by the Eurochem Agricultural Research Laboratories Corporation. ERCO. Same as the name on the van.
All right, treat it as a fire hazard.
All right, sir.
Well, my wife will be wondering where I am.
Look, it'll be safe to go in the bungalow in 10 minutes or so, Mr. Balfour.
These uniformed lads will coat, Mr. Garrard.
Yeah, look, I'd like you to see inside.
Look, I'm CID. I've just spent 12 hours being interested in crime. Now all I'm interested in is a warm, cosy bed with me in it, asleep.
Look, I don't think this was an accident, Mr. Balfour. I'm certain that Edward and Kathleen Downs were murdered.
Are you sure it's safe? These walls are still giving off heat.
Yeah, well, look, stay on our planks. Don't put your weight on the joist, otherwise you'll go through to the subfloor.
Oh, God, what a mess. My wife will kill me.
Well, there's no need to touch anything. Just look. Well, what do you think?
This was a bedroom.
Uh-huh.
That tangle of ironmongery is the remains of their bedspring. Medhurst and Williams found what was left of Mr. and Mrs. Downs lying on it.
Nice.
Yeah, but doesn't that strike you as odd? I mean, the woman next door said they weren't crippled, so how is it they died in their bed?
You tell me.
Take a look at this. Piece off. Yeah, there. A small chunk of brickwork. Now look closely at it.
It looks more like a bit of, ceramic of some sort.
Yeah, correct, but it was brick. It's been vitrified.
Eh?
It's turned into glass by the heat.
So there's been a fire?
Yeah, a domestic fire, Mr. Balfour, and domestic fires don't generate the sort of temperatures that can turn brickwork to glass. Now, look at this. Earthenware flower pots fused into glass. We're not dealing with an ordinary fire, Mr. Balfour. No ordinary fire could do this. We are dealing with the sort of temperatures that are encountered in an industrial furnace. Not the low temperatures you get by burning bedding, furniture and floorboards in the normal way.
Well, what would be the abnormal way?
Any way that introduces an abnormal quantity of oxygen to sustain combustion.
You're leaving me behind.
A forced draft.
Like bellows. Here, or a fireplace, like that one.
No, that was bricked up years ago when the central heating was installed. You try putting your hand up the chimney.
I'll take your word for it. So the room was sealed?
Virtually, yes. And that's where the contradiction creeps in. I mean, in a small room like this, the air couldn't be replenished fast enough to support even a small fire. And certainly not a fire that reached furnace intensity so quickly that Mr. and Mrs. Downs had no time to even get out of bed.
First you tell me it was an intense blaze, and now you tell me that an intense blaze wasn't possible.
All I am saying is there is a contradiction in the evidence. And that the coroner couldn't record anything but an open verdict on the deaths of Mr. and Mrs. Downs until that contradiction is cleared up.
And clearing it up is going to be a police job.
That's right. I'll write up the mystery and you can solve it, each to his own.
Thanks.
Any time. Where will you start?
Cornflakes, puffed wheat, or your rat's droppings in sawdust Alpine breakfast health cereal?
Whatever you've over-purchased this week.
Ooh, another letter about our non-TV licence for our non-TV set. They still don't believe we haven't got one. How can you expect to be an up-to-date Trotskyite if you never watched the Open University?
Are you baiting me?
No, I was just thinking of all the men I could have chosen not to talk to me at breakfast.
Well, it's ist, not ite, and I'm neither.
Probably men in white coats from the Rehabilitation Centre for people who haven't got tellies. They always call during test card hours when the spirit is at its lowest.
Denise, not in that night dress.
That's him over there. If you can't get a confession out of him with a length of rubber hose, tickle him under the ribs. Detective Inspector Balfour, and he knows all about you.
Mr. Howard Rogers?
Yes?
I understand that you're the transport manager at Eurochem Agricultural Research Laboratories.
Well, that's right, yeah. And General Dog's Body, why?
I work there as well. Has he done something awful?
Denise, don't you think it's time you slipped into something opaque?
If you start screaming, I won't hear.
Very nice. I wasn't told you were married.
I'm not. She's just dropped in for breakfast.
Now, I'm sorry to call so early, Mr. Rogers, but it's urgent. You have a driver who works for you at Elco, Mr. Edward Downs.
Ted Downs, yes.
There's been an accident this morning at his home.
What?
A fire.
How serious?
It was fatal for him and his wife. About 2 hours ago. I'm sorry.
Well, how did it happen?
Well, we're not sure of the exact details yet. He had several drums of weed killer in the back of his van.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Complex B put in a priority requisition yesterday for 200 litres of diapon. I sent Ted to Cardiff, our production plant, to collect it. He'd have got back late last night and driven straight home. There's no one in Complex B at night with the authority to accept deliveries.
Complex B?
The Industrial Research Unit at Elco, the place behind the high barbed wire fence. Those perimeter surveillance TV cameras feed pictures to your police station.
Well, I don't know half of what goes on in our Nick. So Edward Downs had access to dangerous chemicals? Highly inflammable chemicals?
Well, so?
Well, Edward Downs and his wife died under what is loosely termed as suspicious circumstances. Either someone planted an incendiary device in their bedroom, or, more likely, Downs had been systematically milking Elco of inflammable chemicals and storing them in his bedroom.
Oh, you're crazy. The stuff we produce is so cheap you'd have to steal it by the ton from Monday to Friday to make even a few pounds a week.
It's not unknown.
Look, do you know what we turn out? Cheap fertilisers and herbicides for developing countries. Emphasis on cheap. I wouldn't be working for them if they exploited poor countries. Anyway, none of the stuff's inflammable.
I have to eliminate the possibility that Downs was stealing from Elko.
No, how?
By going over your records. Checking every delivery note and invoice for consignments handled by him over the past 2 years.
There were never any complaints about short deliveries.
Good. That means it won't take us long to double-check.
When do you want to start?
This morning, 11. I'll be along with the detective constable.
OK. I'll tell the main gate to expect you. Oh, you'll have to have your pictures taken. You'll be issued with visitors' badges.
We don't want to enter your complex B.
Oh, you wouldn't be allowed in there anyway, old son. I've never been in there, and I've worked for Elko for 3 years.
Right, your office then. 11. Say goodbye to your lovely friend for me. Be seeing you.
What was that?
What was what?
Listen. Oh, thought I heard something.
Nothing gets through the triple glazing. Oh, I'll never get used to the sight of silent jets dropping into Heathrow. Let's eat somewhere noisy. That spit and sawdust pub we found last year.
Oh, it's been ruined by the digital watch and MGB brigade. How are those two cops making out?
Oh, they're efficient. Last time I looked in, they were ploughing through the third quarter of last year.
It's a bloody cheek, the whole thing.
Hey, have you told Dad there are hordes of policemen picking over company records?
You reckon he'd be interested?
What do you think of my potted plant?
I mean, when did he last shove his nose out of Complex
I
B?
found it growing in the verge near the main gate. Ah, your Detective Inspector Balfour is heading this way. Look, he's on monitor 3.
Come in, Mr. Balfour.
Find it unnerving the way the doors here slide open by themselves.
Useful when you're pushing trolleys around loaded with computer tapes.
I suppose. I'm sorry to trouble you, but I need your help. These delivery notes have been initialed by D.E. I was wondering who D.E. is.
Oh, that's me, Denise Exon. Show me.
Oh. Didn't I see the name Exon on the board by the main gate?
Ralph Exon, Elko's technical director, and my father. I used to be his personal secretary until he got fed up with my shorthand and offloaded me onto Keir Hardy here.
Who? Oh, I see.
Yes, she has a regrettable sense of humour and will be brutally punished when you've gone.
Promises. How can I help?
Well, you've initialed 3 of these delivery notes as goods unexamined.
Yes, that's quite normal when there's no time to check a consignment.
Oh, can you remember if there were any discrepancies?
Oh, November of last year. Oh, I was Dad's secretary then. No, I can't remember any shortages.
2,4-D. What is 2,4-D?
It's a herbicide, Mr. Balfour. A particularly lethal herbicide. An auxin and turgor pressure herbicide. Do you know what that means?
Hello, Dad.
Good morning, sir.
No, I have no idea, sir.
Auxins are the hormones that are present in infinitesimal but vital quantities in all plants, Mr. Balfour. They control the plant's growth rate. And turgor pressures govern its movements. The bean racing up a stick, the sudden snap of a Venus flytrap closing on its prey, a daisy opening its petals to the sun. They're all governed by auxins and turgor pressures. And man, in his deviousness, has taken those hormones and uses them against plants to destroy them.
He doesn't want to lecture, Dad.
No, it's very interesting. How do they kill plants?
Oh, put simply, spraying a plant with 2,4-D provides a massive auxin dose that triggers explosive growth. Cell division is accelerated and the cells themselves become elongated. The plant outstrips the ability of its roots to provide nutrients and it dies.
Mr. Balfour is investigating an accident, sir. It happened
Edward
this morning.
Downs is the driver.
Yes.
I've heard all about it from security. I hope you're receiving full cooperation from Mr. Rogers.
Oh, yes, indeed. If you'll excuse
All
me.
our records are at your disposal, Mr. Balfour. Personally, I have no doubt that Downs had been robbing this company for several years.
Well, if you've positive evidence, sir, then I'd be...
I've no proof. Hopefully you'll find it for us. Oh, presumably my consignment is still at Downs' house.
Oh, hell, the van. I'm sorry, I'd forgotten all about it. I'll send someone over now to collect it.
No, we haven't got a standby driver. I'll go and get it after lunch.
Oh, thank you, Denise. Well, good luck with your investigation, Balfour.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yes. Yes, there was something else. It's time we held a few, open days. Through the place, open to the public. Next weekend, say. I'll, personally conduct the tours of Complex B, and you can look after the rest of the place. We'll
discuss it tomorrow morning.
Well, I must get back to my investigation. Thank you for your help, Miss Exon.
Oh, pleasure.
Oh, you realise what's happened, don't you? Your father spent so much time working alone in Complex B that he's finally blown a mental fuse.
It's odd.
TV cameras, an electric fence, floodlighting, regular security patrols, and God knows what else. £2 million spent on keeping people out, and now he's talking about opening it to the public? Oh, too bloody right it's odd.
My potted plant.
What?
I'm sure it had only 4 leaves this morning.
At such short notice.
No,
that's what
it's
gets
got
me.
6, 7, 9, 10.
Coming to bed?
We ought to cut down on something. £40 on wine last month.
The soft life demands hard cash.
Nearly 60 quid's worth of petrol went into your Triumph. The embossing on your Barclay card must be worn out from the hammering it gets.
Howard, my precious, you're rapidly becoming a frightful domesticated little boar.
I know what it's like to be poor.
Here we go again. Roots. I'll walk out on you if you start on about your wretched cobbles, clogs and black pudding background.
All I'm saying is that we ought to be...
All I'm saying is that if you're spoiling for a dust-up, we might as well have one.
What have you done with my potted plant?
What potted plant?
It was gone when I got back to the office this afternoon.
I've no idea what you're rabbiting about. What potted plant?
The one I rescued from the verge. Responding magnificently to my woman's touch, it was.
Ooh, like I do.
I should be so lucky. It was on my desk.
Oh, that weird thing.
Yes, that. Now, what have you done with it?
Look, love, I swear I haven't touched it. Oh, hang on, though. It was on your desk.
Yes.
Your father was staring at your desk when he came into the office.
Are you accusing poor Dad of stealing potted plants?
No, I didn't say that. I just happened to notice that he seemed to be interested in your desk. Maybe those fuzz nicked it.
Don't be stupid. I suppose you went to the canteen for coffee, as I wasn't around to fetch and carry for you.
Yep.
And you didn't lock the office.
Well, how was I to know that there were plant nappers on the loose? All right, it's all my fault. I'll buy you another one. What sort of plant was it?
That's just it, Howard. I don't know. Which was why I was attracted to it in the first place. I meant to ask Dad what it was, because it was like no other plant that I've ever seen in my life.
She's lying, the bleeding cow. I hate fighting. Honest, I hate fighting. God's true. Let go your bitch, you're at a tick. You just wet your head, or Harriet's going to pull all your hair out. Handful by handful. Aren't you, Harriet? Yeah. Slow like. Please. I ain't got any, I ain't. No, watch out.
What's going on here? Now, come on, girls, you've had long enough in the showers. Breakfast in 30 minutes. What's the matter, Anne?
Nothing, miss.
All right, then. Now, come on, girls, you'll all catch cold standing around with nothing on. Breakfast in 30 minutes.
No good doing anything out here. Let's go into a room. We've got them in there anyway. Lock it.
Please, no, I ain't got none.
Lying cow. You should open your windows. This room stinks of fags, so where are they?
Know what my boyfriend liked to do to me? Used to work real hard, it did. Sadistic little swine he was. Show her. Really hurts. Better have a pillow ready in case she screams like I used to. Hold her still.
No!
Do you want her to do it again, love?
No! No, please. They're over there.
That's more like it. Where? Funny noise.
Behind the curtains on the windowsill.
Can't see no fags.
Nothing except this plant thing.
There. Look at that.
Where's the fags then?
It's twice as big as what it were yesterday.
It's making some sort of noise.
The fags.
In the flower pot buried. What do you think?
It's a funny looking plant.
Don't make sense. Weren't nothing like as big as this yesterday when I dug it up.
Where'd you find it?
Whole packet. Only 3 smokes. Oh, matches too. Oh, I haven't had a drag for 3 months. 1 each for now. Oh, I feel all funny.
Eh?
Yeah, all light-headed like I've been drinking.
Don't reckon much on that plant. Ugly thing. It's making some sort of noise.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Did your boyfriend really do that to you? What you did to me? Of course. That's why I stuck him in my mum's thinking shoes. That's why they shoved me in this dump. Well, I couldn't tell him in court why I stuck him, now could I?
Oh, look at that. Old fag and not some tatty dogging. Come on, Harriet. Strike a match. Hey, look at the way it's burning.
Fire engine coming up behind. Pull over.
Someone's cat stuck up a tree.
Howard, stop a minute.
Well, what's the matter?
Pull over onto the verge, quickly. I want to go over to those trees.
Oh, can't you hang on until we get to the office? Oh. Denise! Denise, come back! Oh, my God. Look, I'm going to the trees, not there.
Look, Howard. Isn't it beautiful?
What's that? I've never seen such an ugly plant. Is that what you came charging over here for?
It's exactly the same as the one that was stolen from the office yesterday.
So what sort of plant is it?
Well, if I knew that, I wouldn't be so interested in it, would I? It's not unlike a soya bean plant, but the leaves are far too big. Anyway, the soya won't grow in this country.
Yeah, well, this one seems to be flourishing.
Have you got a spade?
Oh, damn it, yes. I knew there was something I'd forgotten.
Don't be cheeky, little fella. I want to show it to Dad, see if he can identify it. And besides, I rather like it. Don't you?
No. But then you always did have lousy taste.
Oh, thanks. Now then, plant.
What are you going to do?
Tear a leaf off to show Dad.
Hey, don't touch it, Denise.
Why not?
I said don't touch it. Ow.
You clobber me, you get clobbered right back.
Well, I was thinking of you. Now, how do you know that thing isn't poisonous?
I don't intend to eat it. Just tear off a leaf.
Yeah, well, supposing it's poisonous to the touch.
It isn't.
How do you know? It's ugly. Now, isn't that supposed to be nature's warning sign? Keep off, I'm dangerous.
You're forgetting something.
And it's only mid-April, so how come this plant's fully mature?
It's been a mild spring. The soil's warming up. The reason I know it's not poisonous to the touch is because the one I had on my desk that someone stole or disposed of didn't hurt me. Oh, God, it's as tough as old boots. Oh, you try it. That large leaf there.
They're all large. Oh, are you sure it won't bring me up in a particularly virulent rash, unknown to dermatologists? Oh, I see what you mean. There.
Right. Thanks. Come on, we're going to be hideously late.
So what are you going to do with it?
I'll call Complex B as soon as we get to the office and ask Dad to have lunch with us at our pub.
Yes, looks like his Jensen just parked. Yes, it's him.
Have you noticed how worried-looking he's been the past few days?
Oh, he's tired. He spent too long shut up in those labs.
Oh, well, at least he's dedicated to his work. Howard, don't go calling him Sir all the time. Call him Mr. Exon or even Ralph. He won't show it, but he'd be secretly delighted.
Oh, sure. Your father has the sort of personality that can freeze alcohol.
Dad.
Hello, Denise. Good afternoon, Howard.
Hello, Dad.
Good afternoon, Mr. Exon.
I saw the menu as I came in. The steak, please, Howard. Well done.
Right.
I expect the vegetables are frozen.
I expect so.
The only food that isn't ruined in a freezer is ice cream. The steak by itself, please, and ice cream to follow.
Anything to drink?
Just the food.
Fine, I'll go and order.
You're looking tired, Dad.
I take it that this little gathering isn't to celebrate an announcement that you two are going to make?
What? Oh, no, of course not. No, I wanted to
How you run your life is your affair, but I often wonder what your mother would have thought. You know what last Sunday's date was?
April the, 12th. Why? Oh, Lord, Dad, I'm terribly sorry.
I thought you'd forget. I put an extra wreath on her grave with your name on it. Not that one can fool the dead.
Dad, I'm awfully sorry.
Well, be ready in 10 minutes. Well, now. Have you solved the mystery?
What mystery?
We found an unusual plant this morning. One that I couldn't identify. I'd also found one the other day, but it vanished from the office yesterday.
You found an unusual plant. Ugly thing.
Oh, I doubt it. There's no such thing as an ugly plant.
Oh, my mother had an aspidistra that she used
There's
to
a
keep
leaf from it in my handbag. I wrapped it in a handkerchief so... Oh, my God.
What's the matter?
It's grown roots, look.
Oh, good Lord, look at that. They must be, 2 inches long?
Where did you find this plant, Denise?
On the edge of a clump of trees this side of the Skyway service station near the airport.
Well, how on earth can a leaf grow roots?
Well, there's nothing unusual about plants being propagated from leaf cuttings. Commercial nurserymen do it with begonias, gloxinias, sinfolias.
Yes, Dad, but these roots have grown 2 inches in 3 hours. I mean, look at them.
Well, I dare say the dark, warm conditions in your handbag are ideal for... Put it away.
What?
Put it away. I can remember the rank, Detective Inspector, but not the name.
Detective Inspector Balfour. Good afternoon, Mr. Exon. Miss Exon, Mr. Rogers.
Hello.
I'm sorry to trouble you, sir, but I've just called your place, and your senior lab technician said I'd find you here. It's urgent.
Oh, you better sit down, then. Actually, I wanted to see you. I've discovered that our driver, Edward Downs, had been stealing chemicals from Elko.
Oh, how did you find that out?
Well, that has some bearing on why I'm here. There's been another fire. 3 girls at the community centre. That's the trendy name for the old remand home. Were burnt this morning. Had to be taken to hospital.
That must have been those fire engines we saw this morning. How badly burnt were they?
Well, they managed to escape from a blazing room with their hair on fire. They've got extremely severe scalp burns, but the chances are they'll be okay.
What have they been doing?
Oh, they won't say.
Well, then, what has this got to do with Elko?
The fire had the same characteristics as the fire that killed Edward Downs and his wife yesterday morning.
Everything inflammable in the room had burned at exceptionally high temperatures, yes?
Oh, how do you know? Have you told him, Denise?
I can clear up the mystery of your 2 fires for you, Balfour. They were caused by spontaneous combustion. Yes, you were right about Edward Downs stealing chemicals from us. But he was clever enough not to steal it while it was in his care. The chemical he'd been helping himself to was sodium chlorate.
How much had he taken?
Oh, probably as much as half a ton over 2 years. Now, anything inflammable that has been in contact with sodium chlorate is liable to burst into flames without warning. Flames that can't be smothered.
Oh, surely cutting off a fire's supply of oxygen with a blanket or rug is bound to put it out.
Correct. But sodium chlorate provides its own oxygen as it burns.
Half a ton.
Hold on. The weed killer we sell under our Pathblitz trade name contains a fire suppressant.
Downs have been stealing unsuppressed Siteblitz. That's a weed killer sold only to the building industry to clear sites overrun with weeds. It's stored in 10-kilogram containers, so the chances are that Downs had transferred it to smaller containers and had sold it to all his friends.
Well, if that's the case, I suppose we can consider ourselves lucky we've only had 2 fires.
This is mid-April, Mr. Balfour, the beginning of the growing season. The soil is warming up quickly this year. Weeds are pushing up fast, and people's thoughts turn to weed killers. I wouldn't be too surprised if there were a whole spate of fires in the near future.
This is Denise Exon calling from Elko. Could I speak to Mr. Balfour, please? Thank you.
What do you want him for?
Oh, Mr. Balfour? Good afternoon. I'm sorry to trouble you, but there was something I meant to ask you at lunchtime. You know, when you were working here yesterday afternoon, did you happen to notice a potted plant on my desk after I'd gone out?
Hey, you're not accusing the police of nicking it?
You did? Yes, that's right. 2 feet? No, it was nothing like as high as that, not more than 6 inches, if that... No, I must have been mistaken. I'm so sorry to have troubled you. Bye now.
So, what was all that about?
What time did Balfour leave here yesterday afternoon?
About 3, when I went for coffee. For God's sake, Denise, you're not saying the police took it, are you?
I honestly don't know what to think. Doesn't make sense.
Well, is it worth kicking up so much dust over one miserable little plant when we're going to get another one this afternoon?
It wasn't that small. Balfour thought it was about 2 feet high. And that means, if he was right, that it grew as much as 18 inches in an afternoon.
I don't think I'll ever understand your father. He spends every hour God made shut up like a hermit in Complex B, never involving himself in the business of leading a life. and then suddenly emerges with a full story on the pilfering activities of a minor employee.
Minor employee? I thought all employees were major in your socialist world.
Don't start baiting me, woman, or you can walk.
We'll both have to. You've driven past the woods.
Oh.
Wasn't it over this way?
No, near the trees.
Isn't there a law about digging up Flora?
Not if she's dead. I'm sure it was around here.
It was here.
You found it? Where?
Someone's beaten us to it. Looks like it's been dug up, love, look.
Oh, hell. Oh, come on. Home.
Be a shame not to be after making use of them there woods now we found 'em, missy.
Use the woods? How? Oh, no. Down, boys. Howard.
Come here, me proud beauty.
Oh, not here.
Tell her what.
Howard. No, Howard, that bank's steep. Stop mucking about.
If I go down, I drag feet down with it.
No, Howard. Look at my dress, you idiot. Look at my tie.
Ooh, give us a kiss.
Howard, I am lying in mud. I don't like lying in mud. My mother warned me about lying in mud.
What's that noise?
I can't see a thing. Will you get off me now?
Oh, no.
What?
I thought you said that your plant was rare.
Oh, my God.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Complex B, the main research centre of the Eurochem Agricultural Research Laboratories Corporation. This lift is taking you down to the lowest level of the centre, Complex B7, which is 200 feet below ground level. The air you are breathing has been filtered to exclude all
Very
particles
nice.
of matter larger than 3
It's
microns.
a tape recording of an
which is
actress
3,000th
supplied by a theatrical agency.
The main complex costs
Dad,
£3 million.
do you really think members of the public will want to go through the performance of having a hot shower and changing into sterile coveralls before visiting the
It
complex?
has its own power station.
Well, a public relations firm assured me that people
We
will
hope you
love
find
it.
your guided tour of
It will
Complex
heighten the
B
feeling of
interesting
anticipation.
and instructive. Please remain together at all times. Thank you for your attention.
Ah, here we are. Level B7. The most interesting level in the complex. Now, where shall we start?
Well, we're in your hands, Mr. Exon.
Well, much of the work to be done in these workshops won't be of much interest to the public. Number 6, for example, will be used to investigate ways of producing ammonium nitrate fertilizer without expensive prilling towers and condensers. Most people think our Cardiff plant is an oil refinery.
Hey, that's clever. The lights are going on in front of us as we walk along.
And out behind us. Now this is our great pride, the heart of Complex B, where we'll be carrying out the most advanced research into new fertilizers. This is the control room of the Climatarium. Come in. Come in.
The what?
Yes, an ugly name. I didn't coin it, but it does convey an idea of the laboratory's purpose. Take a seat.
Oh, thank you.
The Climatarium itself is beyond that glass screen. You'll see it when the sun is switched on. It's 90 meters in diameter and about the same height at the center of the dome. Now, are you ready?
It's a bit like waiting for Star Wars to begin.
Well, our special effects are a little more advanced.
It's getting light.
Listen.
We are going back in time. We are hurtling backwards in time at a rate of 200 million years per second. Backwards through the Pleistocene period, in which man appeared on this planet. Through the ages of the reptiles of the Jurassic period of 200 million years ago. Through the Carboniferous period of the great coal forests of 350 million years ago. On and on, backwards through time, until we come to the period in the history of our planet when the atmosphere contained no free oxygen.
Is that the real sun out there?
But there had always been light from the sun. The first recognizable life was algae floating on the oceans, intercepting the sunlight and using solar energy to convert carbon dioxide to sugar and releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. It was algae and plants which gave us the life-giving oxygen in our atmosphere, a process which took 2,500 million years, and which go on sustaining the atmosphere today as we breathe oxygen and consume it in our factories and our motor cars. One car requires 5 acres of forest to replace the oxygen it burns every 20,000 miles.
Well?
It's fantastic. But is that the real sun?
No. It's a cluster of high-pressure xenon lights radiating 1 kilowatt of energy over every square metre of the Climatarium's floor. They're suspended from a gantry which can be moved to simulate the passage of the sun across the sky. We can vary the output to simulate any region on Earth, but we are primarily concerned with the tropics for the controlled conditions we need to test new fertilizers and soil conditioners. Oh, the soil in the Climatarium has the same profile as that found in certain regions of Ethiopia. Watch carefully.
There are people out there. Who are they?
We have now come forward in time to 5 million years ago. We are in North Africa, where the first true men are believed to have appeared.
Yes, actually, it's dangerous making statements about the origins of man because, well, every so often someone makes a discovery that adds another million years to the time he's been on this planet.
Dad, who are those people?
And now we move our weather clock forwards to the present day. Little has changed. The people are a little taller, and they live a little longer. Some even survive into their early 40s, and they are still starving and wretched. But instead of a handful of people, now there are many millions. People like Joey. We don't know his real name. Come nearer, Joey. Nearer. Notice his limbs.
God.
Like matchsticks, aren't they?
But this is awful.
You almost feel you couldn't reach out and break them.
What's that poor kid doing in there? Dad!
Notice his distended brain.
Why is he in there? Why? Why?
The flies are crawling all over his face, but he no longer cares.
No.
All he cares about is his next meal.
Dad?
It might come today, or tomorrow, or next week.
Look.
Or never.
Look, Dad!
Come nearer, Joey.
No!
Denise, it's all right.
No, it's not all right.
Yes.
How old do you think Joey is? 4, 5, 6? Joey is 11 years old. He is one child out of 10 million. And we have sentenced him to death.
Dad, please, open this door. Dad, you can't leave him. You cannot. Please open the door.
Denise!
I didn't mean it, Daddy. I didn't mean to kill him. Oh, please believe me, Daddy. He was hungry. He was so hungry. I didn't know he'd die.
It's all right, love. It's all right. He's gone. There's nothing there. They've all gone. Look, you see? Nothing. Nothing. So, what was it that we saw?
A hologram. A three-dimensional image recorded on holographic film and projected by laser beams. The boy died last year. We made the recording in Somalia.
What did she mean? I didn't mean to kill him.
I thought she'd forgotten.
I'm all right now, Howard.
Oh, I'm taking you home.
No, I'd like to see everything now we're here.
Oh, perhaps we should call it a day.
I'm sorry I made a fool of myself. but I'd like to see the rest. So, what's the purpose of that place?
It recreates any environment that we wish. Let me show you.
Oh, we can go in there?
Of course. It's perfectly safe. There are no mosquitoes. Oh, perhaps there should be.
I think I ought to take Denise home.
I'd like to see it.
Yes. I thought perhaps you would. Now, sun goggles are on your left in the airlock. Put them on, please.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, are we in?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yes, it takes the pumps a few seconds to balance the pressure. Mm-hmm. Oh, a word of warning. Even though you're wearing goggles, don't look up at the xenon lights. They're burning with the same intensity as a tropical sun.
Right.
Now, brace yourselves. The heat can hit you like a sledgehammer. Welcome to North Africa.
Oh, it's incredible. I can even feel a slight breeze.
There's convection currents set up by the xenon lights, which is exactly what winds are. We weren't expecting real climatic effects in here, but we've got them. I've left the program set so that you'll get a taste of some real weather in a few minutes.
Hey, is that maize growing over there?
Yes, that's right. Come and see.
They're fantastic, Dad.
Looks like they're growing in sand.
They are. Those sachets at the base of each plant are Elco's much vaunted grow bombs. Sunlight degrades the covering, layer by layer, so that the exact amount of water and nutrients required by the plant are released at a controlled rate throughout its growing season. They eliminate expensive irrigation systems, in which large quantities of water are lost in hot countries through evaporation.
Yes. Now, I remember reading the firm's press handout on them. They're going to revolutionise farming, aren't they?
They'll eliminate ploughing and harrowing. There'll be no more pollution of rivers and streams through excessive fertilisers leaching through the soil. And if they ever are used for growing in sand, there won't be a weed problem.
Well, they sound like the solution to the world's food problem.
Yes. I believe they could be. But, like so many things we've developed, they won't be allowed to be.
What?
Why not, Dad?
Do you know where the factories to make grow bombs are going to be built? Not in the countries that need them, but places like America, Sweden, Canada, Germany and France. Elco got the whole thing sewn up. Manufacturing licenses, distribution rights, royalty percentages, retail outlets. An army of middlemen standing in the wings waiting to grab their slice of the cake.
But Elco exported 2 million tons of fertiliser to India last year.
They exported 2 million tons of surplus production sold at a knockdown price after the contracts with North America had been completed.
What are these, Dad? They look like the remains of some plants. What happened to them?
Oh, we've had our failures. Well, we'd better be going now. This heat's bad for you if you're not used to it.
What was that?
Homemade lightning. Several kilovolts jumping between 2 electrodes on the gantry.
How long is the spark?
About 30 feet. Quite spectacular, isn't it? That's how we increase the ozone concentration in the atmosphere. Well, we ought to be going now.
There. Denise, ready?
Ooh, steak, wine and candles.
It's an anniversary now. Eat and don't ask questions.
Does it look good? What anniversary, kind sir?
We've been together now for 365 nights.
362.
What?
I threw you out on 3 successive nights last December, do you remember?
Yes, I never did pay you back. But if you'd like to propose to me, I'll give it careful consideration.
Only one thing missing from the table, flowers.
Oh.
Where's my potted plant?
I moved it into the bedroom. It was a nuisance in the kitchen, seeds all over the floor. And as it's my month for housework, I ought to be allowed to make decisions on the location of things that make cleaning up difficult. It's behind the bedroom curtain on the bay windowsill.
Funny how those plants grow so quickly, isn't it?
Ooh, it is good. I should have invited your father round, shown him how well I'm looking after you.
What, celebrating our year of living together? I can just see him enjoying that.
It's odd the way he's opened Complex B to the public. And yet they've still got all the surveillance equipment working at night.
He says it's to safeguard the records and computer files on level 3.
Odd, though. Still, that hologram of the starving kid was more effective than any film.
Don't let's talk about it, Howard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did Dad mention anything to you?
No.
Then why are you saying sorry?
I didn't mean to bring the subject up. I figured you'd get around to telling me sometime. I just didn't want to push you.
I tend to forget how kind you are.
Ooh, you won't find another.
Oh, Dad was wrong. I hadn't forgotten that little boy. I must have been about 7 or 8. Dad was on his second tour with the United Nations Agricultural Advisory Team in Chad. It was Boxing Day. I remember feeling how wrong it seemed to be spending Christmas in such heat. I was playing with my presents and I suddenly realised I was being watched. He had huge eyes, just like that little boy in the Climatarium. His stomach was blown up like a balloon. He could hardly stand. No one could make out how long he'd been wandering on the savannah or how he'd managed to find our station. Kept pointing to his mouth. I heard him crying that night. I overheard someone say he was hungry. I didn't know they were giving him a liquid diet to start with. I smuggled him a big slice of Christmas cake. They found him dead next morning.
Did your father guess?
Well, I think he must have done. If only they'd told me that food like that would kill him. Oh, I'm sorry, Howard. This is delicious, but I just can't manage anymore.
Coffee?
Please.
Oh, that's odd. The cream's gone off. Smell.
Ew. Where'd you get it?
At our supermarket. Well, we're not going there anymore. That's the second lot that's done that.
Oh, let's have it black. Good Lord, don't you need a special licence to smoke something that size?
Special occasion. The biggest cigar in the shop. I'll go and get you a funny plant. We can sit and contemplate it and marvel at your green fingers. All right?
Don't drop cigar ash on the stair carpet.
Oh, my God!
Evening, nurse.
Good morning, Mr. Balfour. It's dawn.
Too whack to notice, love. So what's the verdict?
Shock, mostly. Minor burns to his face and hands. He'll be okay tomorrow. Have you found out what's causing these fires?
We're working on it. Is she still here?
Over there. She's been sitting there all night, poor thing.
Ah, thanks. See if you can rustle us up some coffee.
But you know where the vending machine is.
Goody. Morning, Miss Exon. Didn't expect to find you still here.
My father's on his way back to pick me up.
I've heard that Howard will be okay.
Yes.
I've just come from your flat. It's a mess.
I suppose you want a statement or something.
Can wait. What happened?
We just finished dinner. Howard went up to the bedroom to get something when I heard him cry out. I rushed up, found him lying in the passageway outside the bedroom door. The entire bedroom was burning. I dragged him clear.
You saved his life.
I tried to smother the flames with my dress. They'd go out, but start again as soon as I took my dress away. It was like a nightmare.
You had nothing in that bedroom that was out of the ordinary?
No, nothing.
It's beginning to look like we've got a maniac on the loose who's hit on a new type of incendiary device. Does your father live alone?
Yes, but he's offered to put Howard and me up. Why?
Drives a Jensen.
Yes, why?
Oh, excuse me. Nurse, what's the plan?
A 999 call from Tower Mills Old People's Home. A major fire.
Bloody hell.
Look at that. Skill. I managed that boiled egg without your help.
My God, this paper does embroider the facts. Hounslow, Feltham and all the communities huddled round London Airport are held in a grip of fear as the inhabitants wait for the dawn arsonist to strike again.
I think I'll be okay driving. Maybe I'd better go into the office before they discover they can manage without me.
You need another day's rest.
What's the latest on the old people's home?
15. Oh, I wish Dad didn't virtually live in Complex B. I was hoping to see more of him now that we've moved in on him. Wonder who that could be at this time. How's it here? Come through.
How are you getting on, Mr. Rogers?
Fine. I'm getting plenty of tender, loving care. Have you caught our arsonist yet?
Oh, we've set up an incident room.
Oh, well, that's it then. He might as well give himself up.
We're looking for something in common between all 4 fires on the assumption that whoever planted the devices used the same materials each time. This is a list of items that we managed to identify at the scene of each fire.
Oh.
I'd like you to look at it and tell me if there's anything here that shouldn't be there.
Picture hooks.
No, well, there were 2 pictures in our bedroom.
Hairbrushes. Can you really identify hairbrushes after a fire? Portable radio. Yeah.
Hand mirror, yes.
Flower pot. We had a flower pot in the bedroom. You mean those delinquent girls at the community centre also went in for potted plants?
Oh, one of the girls had found a wild plant she was fond of.
Alarm clock, yes. Oh, that's it.
Oh, well. It was worth a try. Is your father still at Elko, Miss Exon?
Yes. He didn't come home last night. Why?
Well, I tried to call him there, but there was no answer. Never mind. I'll see myself out. Good to see you looking fine, Mr. Rogers.
Oh, thank you.
Be seeing you.
What are you looking for?
C, D, E... Flinders. Max Flinders. Ever heard of him?
Well,
He's an old friend of Dad's. He used to lecture at Surrey University, microbiology.
So?
Do you feel like a drive into the country? Good. We are going out to those woods near the airport. We're going to dig up one of those weird plants and we're going to take it down to Max Flinders and ask him to examine it.
Why?
Because somehow, in a way I can't even guess at, those plants have got something to do with the fires. And Dad knows they have, and the police suspect that Dad knows something.
How'd you get onto him in the first place?
From complaints, Commander.
All right, Sir Exon likes to go on the prowl at night, but it's not enough, is it?
Enough to have him in for a chat. Finch got a look in the boot of his Jensen last night. A spade, a trowel, a horticultural flame gun, weed killer.
Yeah, that's not evidence to associate him with these fires. With his job, he can easily explain why such things are in his possession.
And now he's taken to daytime prowling with a pair of 1250 binoculars.
What does he show an interest in?
Or anything. The countryside, mostly. He likes to find himself a high spot and go over every square inch. Woods, fields, hedges, gardens.
Extraordinary behaviour.
15 people died in that fire, sir.
Yes, I don't have to be reminded, Belforth. All right, keep him under observation for another 72 hours. You can pull him in if he continues with his prowling.
There wasn't much point in trekking down here with that plant the other day. He's got a couple growing in his front garden. Look near that conifer.
They probably are a common weed, and we've wasted his time.
He said it was urgent, didn't he?
Oh, good morning, Mr. Flinders.
Denise, Howard, come in, come in. I've just made a pot of coffee. Now, through here, that's it. Out you go, Sookie. Now, mind the pile of books, will you? Let's go into my den.
I don't think I've ever seen so many books outside a library.
Yes, I do believe they're breeding. The cats certainly are. Oh, make sure there isn't one under you before you sit down, will you? Shoot those papers on the floor, Howard. That's it. Oh, boy.
I only hope that we haven't wasted your time over the plant, Mr. Flinders.
Max, only civil servants and gasmen are allowed to call me Mr. Flinders.
Only we noticed quite a lot of those plants as we drove down, and there's a couple more in your front garden.
Just round your way, all scattered.
Scattered?
I see. Well, at least it's an easy plant to spot.
So it is dangerous?
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, I'd say it's the most dangerous living organism on this planet. We're going to have to move fast.
And it did cause those fires?
3 more this morning. 6 people died, all in your area.
But how can a plant be responsible?
I've been keeping it near an open window. Yes. Here it is.
Phew, it's grown.
Oh, yes, it's grown all right. It does everything well. Now, I'm going to show you a classical experiment, similar to that carried out by Joseph Priestley 200 years ago. Now, I'll need that aquarium.
Oh.
Now, place a burning candle in the aquarium, like so. Cover the aquarium up.
Well, the candle will go out, surely.
It's dying.
It'll burn for a few seconds until the flame has consumed all the oxygen in the aquarium. You see, it's out. Now then, please, Denise, would you kindly lift that plant into the aquarium for me? That's fine. Slide it to one side. Will you make room for the candle?
Right.
Which I shall now light. Right. Now put the cover back in place, please.
Oh, well now. Now, what sort of candle's that?
It's an ordinary candle, and it will continue to get brighter.
I would never have believed it.
But it's lighting up the whole room.
I didn't believe it myself at first. Oh, it has about the intensity of a 300-watt light bulb. Now the candle's collapsing. Now watch what happens when I push a dead match under the cover. There.
But that's fantastic. Just burst into flames.
Quite a firework display when I sprinkle sawdust in there. That's enough. I'll slide the cover off and let the remains of the candle burn itself out.
So that's what killed all those people and nearly killed Howard?
Yes.
But how? Now, how could a plant do that?
You've heard of photosynthesis? Well, in simple terms, it's the process by which plant leaves produce their nutrients from solar energy. They also produce surplus oxygen, which is released into the atmosphere through the leaf. All plants do this, of course. But this strange plant does it faster. So fast that it can enrich the oxygen content of the atmosphere in a closed room within a matter of minutes.
Yes, but oxygen isn't dangerous, is it? I thought life depended on it.
So does fire. Our atmosphere is only 1/5 oxygen. The rest is mostly nitrogen. Just the right balance to make fire controllable. Now, our whole civilization is based on our control of fire. A slight increase in oxygen levels, and we lose that control. Everything that can burn will burn.
I'm sorry, Max, but I cannot believe that one plant in a room could cause our bedroom to be gutted like it was.
Why not? Look at this room. Full of combustible material. Books, papers, furniture, floorboards, window frames, all waiting to burst into flames, given the right conditions that plant can provide.
So where did it come from?
I think your father would be the best one to answer that question.
You think that he...
I don't know what to think yet. Not until I've talked to him. You know, I haven't seen him for, it must be 10 years now. Has he still got that obsession with the problem of the world's hungry?
Yes.
Good job someone has. Not enough men like your father. Well, I'll feed my cats and you drive me up to London. You know, the wretched magistrate took my driving license away just because my Rolls hasn't got the hang of Guildford's lunatic one-way system. 3 more growing on the verge back there.
How are they managing to spread so quickly?
Well, that's one of the first things we're going to have to find out. It's a leguminous plant, by the way. Same family as peas, broad beans, runner beans, that sort of thing.
This is our road.
Far too near London Airport for my liking.
Oh, Dad must be back. Garage doors were open.
Well, that's odd. He's put the car away and left the engine running.
Denise, fetch your father, will you? Go on. Quickly, my dear.
Right.
See if the garage doors are unlocked, will you?
Huh? Yes, they are. What a stupid thing to do.
Look, Will. For God's sake,
It's crazy. Stupid. You think he didn't notice he'd left the engine running?
Fumes. Look, the handbrake's not on. Pull on the bumper. That's it. Right, good boy. That's it. If I turn the engine off.
Right. It's too late to call a doctor, I suppose.
Yes. Selfish bastard.
Why?
Choosing a method that could have led to his daughter finding him.
I am perfectly all right, Howard. I'm not some helpless female that needs dosing to the eyeballs with sedatives. You'll need my help with his papers.
OK then, sweetheart. If you're sure.
Here's something. Results of gamma radiation on batch 5, 20% germination rate. Well, we'll keep that paper on one side. Did he ever mention something called Project D10, Denise?
There was something he was trying to persuade Elko to invest in about 4 years ago.
Soya bean mutations?
Yes, that's right.
Dear Exon, your preliminary findings have made a sizable impression on the board of directors. Despite Hopkirk's objections, Project D10 is to go ahead. I see. Memo dated 4 years ago.
I've seen these before. The architect's plans for Complex B. He shouldn't have had all these company documents at home.
All scientists are squirrels when it comes to papers. Here, show me. I said, is that the Climatarium?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Oh, I don't think you'd be able to. Only the control room's open to the public.
Well, apart from being able to flaunt a Rolls-Royce in front of one's colleagues, one of the great advantages of copying a Nobel Prize is that it opens doors. But it can wait. What I really want to see first is the bungalow where the first couple died.
Oh, yes, Edward Downes and his wife.
If you say so, my boy. I need a chauffeur.
Oh, I'll run you over there.
Denise is prettier than you. Yes, thank you, officer. We'll stay on the planks. It's some mess,
Our bedroom is in exactly the same state.
Bricks almost vitrified by the heat.
Why did you insist on me driving you here?
Because you can't drive and cry at the same time. Floorboards burnt. Right so. Just the joist left. Remarkable. Hello. Bird droppings everywhere.
There's a gaping hole up there. Max, listen.
I'm getting to know that sound. 7 of them. Thriving, too.
Is it safe in here?
Oh, yes. There's no danger with a hole like that in the roof. The oxygen these lads are giving off is diffused into the atmosphere immediately. No, the danger is in an unventilated room.
Have you seen enough?
Yes, I think so. I'll just take one of these plants along with me. And then I'd be grateful if you'd kindly take me to the General Hospital.
A visitor for you, Anne. And you mind your manners, young lady.
I ain't talking to no more fuzz.
A policeman? Well. That's something I've never been accused of before, Anne.
Or bleeding probation officers. Where'd you get that plant?
Yes. Odd-looking thing, isn't it?
It's all right.
Did you have one in your room when you and your 2 friends were burnt?
Look. I've told you all over and over. I don't know what caused that fire.
But you did have a plant like this in your room.
What if I did? No crime, is it?
Is smoking a crime at your age? I forget. Who smuggles them into you? Boyfriend, a porter? Well, never mind. Is that what you were about to do at the time of the fire? Smoke? You struck a match and boom? Yes?
Suppose so.
You see, the thing I can't understand is how the 3 of you managed to escape from that room with only a burnt scalp.
Bloody bad enough, wasn't it?
No. I didn't mean that. Other people who had the same thing happen to them were burnt to death by their nightdress and pyjamas. You see? Well, thank you for seeing me, Anne. I must be off now.
I thought you bought me that plant.
I'll send you a nicer one. Promise.
That was quick.
Yes. Oh, by the way, Anne, why were you in the community centre?
Tried to burn down my school, didn't I?
Oh. Well, goodbye, Anne. And I'll send you that plant. What sort of school was it, nurse?
Comprehensive, of course. You didn't think it was a grammar, did you?
Well, trying to burn down a grammar school demonstrates a degree of vandalism. Trying to burn down a comprehensive demonstrates a lack of social awareness. You know, I'm puzzled by their injuries, nurse. Is that all the three girls had? Just scalp burns?
No, I said that all the hair on their bodies had been burned.
You mean they had other burns?
Do I have to spell it out?
No, I'm sorry, but... Oh, I see what you mean.
They were naked at the time of the accident. They just had showers.
Naked? Naked, well, of course. That's the one thing that had me baffled. That explains how those three girls are still alive. And it gives me a nicely rounded theory that our police and politicians will understand.
Seed tray 1, 0 germination.
What temperature did we start at?
10 degrees centigrade.
Well, that's only to be expected.
Seed tray 2 is the same.
15 degrees centigrade.
No seeds have germinated at 15 degrees.
Tray 3 is the same. Constant 20 degrees and germination is 0. 25 and 30 are the same.
The fastest growing plant the world has ever seen. And we can't persuade a few hundred of its seeds to germinate under ideal conditions. So why? Well, I suppose it's just possible there's a genetic fault, and the Exon strain will die out.
Does that happen with mutation?
It happens all the time in nature. The whole process of evolution is based on survival of the fittest. For every successful organism that survives to reproduce, 1,000,000 fail.
And Daddy's creation has failed?
Well, we don't know for certain. But it will be better for the world if it has.
Why? Doesn't the Exon strain mean an abundance of food for the third world? That is what my father worked for all his life.
Don't think I don't understand how you feel, Denise, but the Exon strain is a failure. It can't possibly benefit mankind. Your father realized that. He spent his last days desperately scouring the district for the plants and ruthlessly destroying them when he found them. Why do you think he did that? If it wasn't because he understood our menace?
Oh, come on, Max, come on, OK. So the Exon strain is an undesirable houseplant. That doesn't make it a menace, just don't bring them indoors.
If the Exon strain survives, which I doubt, because most leguminous plants are killed by frost, we will have to destroy it before it destroys us, and by us I mean mankind. Look, our present atmosphere contains 20% oxygen. Now, plant life gives us that 20%. Given the right conditions, Ralph Exon discovered that it might be possible for his plant to double that percentage in 5 years, maybe less, if it gets established in places like Central South America. Now, have you any idea what effect a 40% oxygen atmosphere will have on civilization? I'll tell you. It will cease to exist. We'll have to have a world without fire, which means no industrial processes.
That's absurd. Like mankind can adapt.
Certainly. Given a few million years, we'd be lucky if we got 20. But it's not just industry. All plant life will die. The oxygen will destroy it. The Exon strain appears to be the only plant that is oxygen resistant. Metal structures will rust as fast as they're put up. Rusting is just another verb for oxidizing. Meat will start to rot almost as soon as it's killed. You've seen contains antioxidants, haven't you, printed on food packets?
Howard, didn't you have some cream go bad when we had that Exon strain in the kitchen?
Yes. Oh, but surely plants can't...
I've only touched on the minor effects. Increased oxygen will make us hyperactive. We won't live so long.
Oh, now you are being absurd.
Have you ever looked at pictures of the Earth taken from space?
Yes.
You realize then just how delicate our atmosphere is, and only the bottom layer, a mere 3 miles thick, can support human life. It's as delicate and as vulnerable as the wall of a soap bubble. I've sent a report on the matter to the government's chief scientific advisor, Alfred Blawes, and a sample of the Exon strain. I've suggested that the government offers generous rewards to anyone finding a plant. What with this 0 germination rate we've discovered, the Exon strain could be wiped out in a couple of weeks.
Tray 6.
Hey?
Tray 6, look at it.
What? 10 rows. 10 seeds to a row. That's what I call 100% germination.
I could spend all day and all night shooting holes in this theory of yours, Mr. Flinders.
Go ahead, but at least have the decency to put another one in its place, Mr. Blawes.
Item. The fire at Howard Rogers and Denise Exon's flat took place at night. No sunlight, therefore no photosynthesis, therefore no free oxygen released, therefore no fire as a result.
The plant had been in the bedroom all day. A sealed room with no fireplace and plenty of draft excluder around the windows.
Item. According to your findings, germination of the seeds doesn't take place until they've been exposed to temperatures above 40 degrees centigrade?
Correct.
Good. We agree on something. Now then, it's June. Air temperature outside is what? A comfortable 22, would you say?
Yes, about that.
And you say that these so-called Exon Strain plants are scattered over a wide area west of London.
And spreading all the time we are sitting here. Get to the point, sir.
The point is, Mr. Flinders, that we've not had one day so far this year in which the temperature has gone above 25 degrees. Even during a heat wave, temperatures above 40 are virtually unknown. So how can you possibly claim that your plants are still germinating and popping up all over the place?
Yes, that's an awkward one.
You agree that I've shot a little hole in your theory?
You haven't. It was there all the time, and it's not little.
You can explain it away?
All I can do is guess.
Then guess.
Somebody or bodies is germinating the seeds and scattering them.
Yes. That's our opinion, too.
Ah?
The opinion of my committee, Mr. Flinders.
What committee, Mr. Blawes?
The one that has been set up to investigate the phenomenon of the Exon strain. Thank you for that name. We hadn't got one.
Set up when?
2 weeks ago. It meets once a week. Your report was discussed at the last one.
You mean that you've known about the Exon strain all along?
Oh, of course. You don't get a strange mutation appearing without the government getting to know about it.
Then would you mind telling me why I've been subjected to 10 minutes of abusive grilling?
I'm sorry about that, but I was anxious to find out how much speculation there was in your report. A ruffled man is a talkative man. We would like you to join our committee, plus Howard Rogers and Denise Exon.
Typical. A major problem crops up and we form a committee. Oh. How often did you say it meets?
Once a week.
This matter's urgent. It should meet once a day.
Pressing, perhaps, not urgent. The seeds aren't germinating. The Ministry of Agriculture carried out similar tests to yours and found that germination does not take place below 40 degrees centigrade.
I think they are germinating, and I think it is urgent. Yes. Have you carried out a plant census anywhere?
The police will catch whoever is scattering them.
Why do you want Howard Rogers and Denise Exon on the committee?
Because they know as much as you. In fact, all three of you are required to join.
So we can be gagged with the Official Secrets Act,
I would not have put it quite like that. As you three have identified the problem independently, we would hope that you will be willing to serve.
All right. But you can't sit on a thing like this. People are attracted to the plants. They're taking them home. There were 2 more fires last week.
Warning posters are being printed at the moment. There's a picture of the plant and a brief statement saying that it is poisonous. They'll be distributed to police stations, libraries, and government offices. After a couple of days of press comment, the whole thing will be forgotten.
I don't believe it. We have a mutation on our hands which terrified its creator, and we're talking about it as if it's a cold epidemic.
Look, I don't like to sound patronizing to someone of your reputation, but we could be in an election year. Governments like election years to be calm years.
Oh, politicians.
We'll probably have a new lot to cope with in the autumn, and the autumn frosts will kill off this wretched plant.
Frostless autumns and winters aren't unknown.
But unlikely. All the committee has to do is keep a close watch on the situation until then. You can carry on with your investigations into Exon's work, but keep it unobtrusive. Incidentally, the board of directors of ELCO are being very cooperative. If you require access to Exon's laboratories, I'm sure they'll be only too willing to...
Okay, we'll toe the line.
Perhaps you can answer one thing. Why do you suppose Exon opened his Complex B laboratories to the public?
He thought it might ease the storm when it finally broke. He didn't have your confidence that it would be possible to keep quiet about the Exon strain, and unlike the government, he was very, very frightened.
I feel like God.
Why?
All these controls at my fingertips. Wind, sun, humidity. Do you suppose your father felt the same?
Why should he have?
He created life out there in that desert. Climatarium, whatever they call it.
Dad didn't create life. He bombarded seeds with neutrons and gamma rays to produce a permanent chromosomal change and gene mutation. Max said Dad merely speeded up nature. Something like the Exon strain could appear naturally next week or in the next 1,000,000 years.
Those plants provide new wonders every day. They can turn their leaves so quickly towards a light source that they seem to rustle with anger when your shadow falls on them. What's the oxygen concentration?
35%. Now, that's up 2% in the last hour since we increased the sunlight.
Yes, I thought it was. My breathing was different. So the pumps aren't coping.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Denise, would you pass your dad's notebook, please? Yes. Yes, here it is, January 12. Yes, he had 2,000 plants growing that day. They could feed at noon. By 4 o'clock, oxygen concentration was 40%. Pumps were not reducing the concentration, so I was obliged to vent the climatorium. What does he mean, vent the climatorium? Hey, who are you calling?
Mike Harris, the chief engineer. Hello? Mike? Denise Exon. We're in the climatorium control room. We've got an oxygen build-up. No, it's not dangerous.
Vent?
We're wondering how to vent the climatorium.
The oxygen build-up must have been...
4 switches above the humidifier control panel. Yeah, I can see them.
Rising.
What do they do? You trying to pull my leg? Okay. Thanks, Mike. We'll try them.
Well?
Do you want it vented now?
Well, yes.
What do the switches do?
First switch equalises pressure. Second and third switches release the latches. And the fourth switch, would you believe, opens the roof.
Now I've seen everything.
That's what I call clever. The entire dome opening like the petals of a giant flower.
This is absolutely marvellous. We really must persuade the government to finance the construction of a climatorium. I mean, to be able to create virtually any climatic condition in the world on such a huge scale. Come on. Let's go and see what the plants think of it. Amazing. Truly a remarkable piece of engineering.
Why are the plants making such a row, Max?
Well, this is how Exon achieved a rapid drop in temperature to simulate conditions of the desert when the sun goes down. Opening the dome allows its giant bubble of warm air to escape. And after that, the refrigeration equipment can cope easily.
Or in this case, a giant bubble of oxygen. Noisy, aren't they?
Well, they're confused. See, now that the roof's open, the light is coming from all directions. That noise is caused by the leaves rearranging themselves to it so that they all receive an equal share of sunlight.
First time I've heard of self-help among plants.
It's not unusual. You know, the rubber plant develops large splits in its leaves so that neighbouring leaves get their share of sunlight.
It's incredible the way those pods burst and scatter seeds everywhere. Oh, do you want us to save them?
Seeds? No. We've got plenty.
Have you found out why they need such high germination temperatures, Max?
Well, now, that is still the great mystery. Lowers has at least established a census area. It was used market garden near Weybridge. There were 3 plants to the hectare last week. Now the figure's up to 5. It's going on the agenda for next week's meeting.
Why, the land was so cheap. This complex is right under one of London Airport's flight paths.
I can't stand those things. The jet engine is third on my list of retrograde creations of the 20th century. Nuclear weapons are second, and this damn plant is right on top.
Why?
Oh, I'm sorry, Denise. We can control nuclear weapons and jets, but we can't control the Exon Strain.
But we can learn.
We've been waging war on weeds for 10,000 years. We haven't beaten them yet, and we never will.
Well, you've never called the Exon Strain a weed before.
A weed is any unwelcome or noxious plant. A definition that fits the Exon Strain admirably.
Listen.
What?
What is it? Why is it going dark? Birds! Look! Millions of birds!
Let's start walking very slowly towards the control room airlock. But don't run. Whatever you do, don't rush. Just look at them. Killing each other over those seeds. Good heavens. Denise, is it possible to close the roof slowly?
Yes. There's a variable speed control above the switch.
Then close it as slowly as you can. I don't want any of those birds to escape.
Morning, boss.
Good morning, Mr. Flinders.
So this is your control area. Very impressive.
The derelict market garden with a topsoil varying from clay to light loam.
Sounds ideal. What's the latest count?
20 to the hectare.
5 last month? That's quite a jump. And from what I saw from the train on the way down, it seems general throughout the country.
The police are carrying out discreet checks on all flying clubs in the south. There's a possibility that some maniac is scattering the seeds from the air.
Yes, now I've got some interesting data for you, enough for you to call an urgent extraordinary meeting of the committee. Have you thought of the consequences of the seeds reaching tropical regions, where they can germinate without artificial heat? One seed can become a mature plant in 4 weeks and produce 2,000 seeds. With a 50% germination rate, that gives us 1 million plants in 2 months, 1,000 million in 3 months from one seed.
No one is denying that there is a problem, Mr. Flinders.
Bring every member of the committee to Complex B tomorrow at 3, and I will show you the true scale of the problem.
And now, wait a minute, Flinders. You can't expect me to call an extraordinary meeting on your say-so.
3 o'clock tomorrow, Blaws. The Climatarium in Elco's Complex B. I'll warn the main gate to expect your party.
I'll be there, alone.
Oxygen concentration is now up to 40%. It's climbing fast. We're going to have to open the roof within the next 5 minutes, Max.
You've been busy, Mr. Flinders. How many plants are in the Climatarium?
At 10 to the square metre, about 17,000.
Quite a spectacle. A lot of work germinating that many seeds.
They're germinated by natural means, and they're flourishing. We've maintained sunlight at a level to simulate the Earth's temperate region.
Concentration's 41.2. It's going up bloody fast.
You mean that all these plants have propagated themselves?
We've provided sunlight and water. That's all. Frightening, isn't it?
But how?
Well, that's what we're about to show you. Hello, Denise. How are things on the roof?
Fine. I feel like a tourist in Trafalgar Square. The whole of the admin roof is swarming with birds fighting over the seeds. They're even snatching them out of my hand. They love them.
I don't know how she can do that. 42%.
Thank you, Denise. Stand by. Now, when the Climatarium roof opens, Blaws, you will see something that will haunt you for the rest of your life. We'll be invaded by thousands of birds. Video recorders on, Howard.
Rolling. Oxygen concentration's 42%.
Equalizing pressure now.
43%. The meters are creeping into the red zone.
Releasing latches.
Hold it, Max. Don't open the roof yet.
What?
A jumbo jet has just taken off and it's heading this way. But it might frighten the birds off, so don't open the roof yet.
Tell her we've got to. Oxygen concentration's 44%.
Denise.
Yes?
I'm sorry, we've got to open. The oxygen concentration is reaching a dangerous level.
Max, listen, you must open the roof. The birds, they're rising up in a great cloud in the jumbo's path. Close the roof, for God's sake. Close it.
How many people were aboard?
253.
It was my fault. My fault. I should have realized that releasing thousands of birds...
It wasn't the birds. The flock was nowhere near the aircraft when it...
Oh, Denise, I'm going to take her home. Come on, love, it's all right. Come on. Come on.
So it was the oxygen.
Yes. A huge bubble of it, rising into the air, too large to disperse quickly enough. Sucked into the aircraft's jet engines.
They blew up. Why did you mount such a crazy experiment? Why?
To show you how the Exon strain is spreading throughout the country. The birds eat the seed whole. Perhaps it has a smell that attracts them. I don't know, but they can't digest them. Their body heat cracks the seed skin, and they pass out of the bird's body ready to germinate in a nice dose of fertilizer to help them get started.
Well, now we know how the plants are spreading. Maybe we can do something about it.
Can we? Isn't there something you've forgotten? The birds start their main winter migration soon. They'll carry the seeds with them, spreading them throughout the world. Like everything else, we've probably left it too late. Only this time we don't get a second chance.
In The Seeds of Creation by James Follett, Max Flinders was played by T.P. McKenna, Howard Rogers by Paul Copley, and Denise Exon by Rosalind Adams. Ralph Exon, Clifford Rose, Blowers, Michael Shannon, Detective Inspector Balfour, Peter Wickham, Mr. Garrard, Rod Beecham, Ted Downs, Bruce Beebe, Kathy Downs, Joan Matheson, Anne, Christine Absalom, Harriet, Debbie Cumming, Millie, Karen Archer, and the voice in the Climatarium, Jennifer Piercy.